Chapter 6. The Circus. Crowds came filling into the giant theater for the Smithworks' new show, Suspense and Surprise. Bond, 00 Siletti, and Cheryl made their way into the giant stadium theater and took their seats. Surprisingly, security was fairly tight. Word had gotten to the Americans of Smithworks' shows and crimes that were connected to them.
"So the Smithworks really cover every type of performance, don't they?"
Cheryl said in concern. It was a traditional-looking circus setup. 3 rings were laid out on the floor, and ropes and towers were set up around the stadium. The lights soon dimmed, and a giant spotlight flashed on a red curtain at one end of the floor. A man's voice began to speak.
"Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of, if not the only since the other is no more, greatest show on Earth."
That same man then emerged from the curtains in a ringmaster-style looking coat and top hat. It was Smithworks.
"Are you all ready for a show full of surprise and suspense? I know I am, and that some of you are as well."
Smithworks was able to spot the spies and Cheryl in the crowd. He made eye contact with all of them. Bond then looked sternly back at him. The rest of the cast of characters then came out of the curtains. Clowns, jugglers, and acrobats came out. The lights shined on each of the other rings, and the entire circus crew appeared.
"Well, this certainly brings back memories."
00 Siletti then looked at Bond in curiosity. "You did mention dressing as a clown. Do I dare ask how?" 00 Siletti asked hesitantly.
"I had to defuse a bomb in the middle of a circus performance, dressed as a clown."
"Oh, naturally, as one does." Music started to play, and all the performers began singing the main theme from The Greatest Showman. "Well, at least this guy has good taste in music," 00 Siletti concluded.
"I'm pretty sure they're just using it for the circus connection,"
Cheryl said. "Oh, I knew that." The show continued on until the stadium went dark. Bond felt a jolt in his seat.
"Now, I don't think this is an appropriate time. Later, perhaps."
"That wasn't Cheryl," 00 Siletti said.
"Daniel, I never took you as—"
"Grow up, 007, 00 Siletti said in a loud whisper. Bond then raised an eyebrow to what just could have happened. A spotlight then flashed on the floor, revealing a somewhat round man with hair standing up in a cylinder shape.
"Ladies and gentlemen, I am the great Bello Knock. Many might have seen me on the circus stage before, and also as one of the greatest daredevils on America's Got Talent. Now I am proud to be tonight's honored performing guest at the one-time only Smithworks Circus."
"One time only? Can you only wonder what he has in store? Especially for you, James, the other times,"
Cheryl realized. Bello ran across the stadium and then through the set of curtains. He returned with a group of clowns carrying a giant pole. He put his finger to his mouth, motioning the audience to remain quiet. He breathed heavily a couple times and then extended his hand. One of the clowns put a cane in his hand. Bello put the cane in his mouth and started to ascend the pole. The pole was about 15 feet high, and Bello climbed and climbed until reaching the top. At the top was a small circular platform. He slowly started to stand on the platform, and the pole began to sway and turn. It would sway forwards and backwards. The circular platform on top would spin ever so slowly. The swaying would move closer to the audience, and for a split second it stopped. Bello took the cane he was holding. He extended it vertically towards a row of seats. What he grabbed was the air of 3 empty seats. The clowns below grabbed supports at the bottom to stabilize the pole, and Bello gave a finishing pose. He slid down the pole and looked back at the seats, and no one was there. As the music returned and the crowd cheered, 00 Siletti slowly rose with his arms covering Bond and Cheryl. "I think we've had enough clowning around." All 3 quietly left the show. Going backstage, Bello dragged the cane behind him and then was thrusted to a wall by Smithworks.
"Well?"
"They vanished. I couldn't grab them."
"I saw them. Of course they were there. How could you say they weren't there?"
"I'm sorry, Mr. Smithworks. I reached out, but nobody was there." Smithworks tightened his grip and threw Bello aside. Smithworks then adjusted a microphone he was wearing and turned it on.
"And now, folks, a special treat. Now it's your turn to be part of the show. Our clowns are coming around to take some props from you. Please, cooperate. Those seltzer bottles aren't filled with seltzer. As they are coming around, please enjoy our once-in-a-lifetime elephant act.
Standing beside a crate, Sandra lifted a latch, letting out a pack of elephants that were running in a path where Bello was thrown.